Hey everyone, my name is Raeann with Minding My Books. I am a QuickBooks solution provider and reseller of QuickBooks products. Welcome to my video going through the differences between QuickBooks Online Plus compared to QuickBooks Online Advanced. But also we will go through a deep dive of all the features available with QuickBooks Online Advanced. As small businesses grow, they find it increasingly challenging to keep on top of everything, and this is where QuickBooks Online Advanced provides great value. Industries best suited for QuickBooks Online Advanced include professional services such as law firms, consultants, IT companies, architectural firms, marketing agencies, and other professional services. Subcontractors, nonprofits, and accountants also benefit from QuickBooks Online Advanced. Companies with inventory such as manufacturers and wholesale and distributors are a better fit with QuickBooks Enterprise unless you partner with another third-party software solution. To see my QuickBooks Enterprise demo, click on the link in the description below. If you are not sure which QuickBooks software product is right for you, I can help you determine which QuickBooks is the best fit, along with any suggestions for any third-party software that will integrate seamlessly. Please email me at raeannsalter@mindingmybooks.com or choose the Discovery Call link, Contact Us, to schedule your free consultation. Here's a chart outlining the differences between QuickBooks Online Plus compared to QuickBooks Online Advanced. As you can see, compared to QuickBooks Online Plus, QuickBooks Online Advanced gives you more room to grow with up to 25 users compared to 5 users. It also gives you an extra accountant seat. In this video, we will take you through the steps to use batch invoicing, which is 20% faster than manual invoicing. Another feature we will demonstrate is how to save time through batch entering sales and purchases. Moving on, we will show you how to set up your user's access with roles. And this is a pretty big deal if you're looking to give more granular access to your employees while keeping them out of a specific area they don't need to access. Next is the custom fields. Custom fields are important to businesses that need additional information tracking and reporting. With QuickBooks Online Advanced, you get up to 48 custom fields, which we will show you how this feature works. I will discuss the benefits of customer support you receive through QuickBooks Online Advanced. Lastly, I will go through a couple other features not listed on the chart. The first one is how to automate specific tasks through workflows. Another is the online backup and restore feature, and this is only available in QBO Advanced. Now let's get started on what you wanted to learn about with QuickBooks Online Advanced. QuickBooks Online Advanced makes it easier for you to import invoices from other business applications. This feature is particularly helpful for users who use external invoice databases or point-of-sale applications. In this video, I will demonstrate how to import invoices from a CSV spreadsheet. Keep in mind that you can't add discounts, credit memos, and negative amounts to your import. The first step is to prep your spreadsheet. Let's use our sample CSV file to go through each column available to import your invoices. In our sample template, columns marked with an asterisk is required. First is the invoice number. If you have custom transaction numbers, enter the number. Otherwise, QuickBooks will choose a number for you. Here's a quick tip. If an invoice contains multiple products and or services in one invoice, then the spreadsheet you import needs to reflect this. You can see that invoice 1001 contains 4 products and services. If these weren't separated into individual rows, then QuickBooks Online would take the total amount of the invoice and categorize the product under one product or service name. The next column is customer. This is a required field, so you want to enter the customer name. If that customer doesn't exist in QuickBooks, you will have the option to add it to your customer list during the import. The next column shows the service date. This is the date the service was performed. This field is optional. Then you have the invoice date. This is the date of the invoice, and this is a required field. The due date is the date the invoice is due to be paid, and this is another required field. Then you have the terms, and that is the terms of the invoice, and this is not a required field. Next up is the item. The item, which is otherwise known as a product or service. Be careful with this field. If you have the product or service set up in QBO with the category you want to add that first with the colon and then the product service following. For example, landscaping is the category and trimming is the service. Also keep in mind, if product or service isn't added, QuickBooks populates with a generic item called sales. QuickBooks does not have this marked as a required field, but it will not import unless it's filled out. The item description field is optional. If you leave this field blank, it will not autofill from your item field from your item list. The next column is the item quantity. This is the number of service hours or quantity of products sold. This field is not required. Next, you have the item rate. You want to enter the rate of your product or service. This field is not required. Then you have the item amount. This is the total amount of the product or service for the line item of the invoice. This field is required. And the next one is taxable. Is the item taxable? You want to enter Y for yes or N for no. Then you have the item tax code. You would enter the item tax code to show on the invoice. This field is required. They should have made the taxable field a required field as well. Next is the memo. Here is where you can enter any notes that you want to add to the invoice. This is not a required field. Then you have the email column. This is where you can enter the email of the contact person who will receive the invoice. This is not a required field. I'm going to circle back to the invoice number. If your invoices have multiple line items, make sure each line entry fills in the required fields. Otherwise, the import will not work. Basically, just like my sample file and not the one that QuickBooks gave you. If your spreadsheet has new products or services and or vendors, be sure to add them in QuickBooks before importing. Also, QuickBooks Online Advanced allows you to import a maximum of 100 invoices at a time with a 1,000 row limit per spreadsheet import. In our current example, invoice 1001 would be considered 4 invoices counting towards the 100 invoice limit, with 10 product service lines counting towards the 1,000 row limit. The next step is to turn on the custom transaction numbers. So if you use numbers to track your invoices, like what we showed in the invoice number column, turn on custom transaction numbers in QuickBooks. If you don't turn this on, QuickBooks will automatically number the invoices for you. So first you want to go to Settings underneath the gear icon and select Account in Settings. Select the Sales tab, then select Edit in the Sales Form Content section. Select Custom Transaction Numbers and turn on the option. And then lastly, you want to select Save. Next, we need to upload your spreadsheet. You want to go to Settings, again, underneath of the gear icon, and select Import Data. Then select Invoices. Next, select Browse, and then find and select the spreadsheet of your invoices. If you have new imported customers without setting its proper currency, QuickBooks assumes the currency is United States dollar. If you have multi-currency turned on, you can import invoices in foreign currencies. If you have new customers that don't already exist in QuickBooks, select the checkbox under the Browse button. Select Next. Now we want to map your import fields. We want to make sure the spreadsheet's column headings match with the QuickBooks fields. So map the column headers with invoice fields in QuickBooks. You would want to make sure that any fields that are marked with an asterisk have entries. Select non-applicable for any fields not in your spreadsheet. Select the date format you use. Next, you want to select your item tax code as your tax option. Select Next. Now you want to map your tax rates to match your sales tax performed previously in taxes. Click Next. My screen shows that 4 new invoices will be imported with 3 new customers that were found, which will also be added. Click Complete Import. Once you are done, select Done if all of your invoices are imported. If some invoices fail to import, note why, then select Done. To check if our import was successful, we'll go to Sales, then All Sales, to view our new invoices where we have 4 new invoices with our 3 new customers. I'll select one of our invoices. This invoice has 4 rows for items that were sold, all of which were imported in just seconds. Let's go over the invoice. Invoice number 1001 shows on top. The new customer shows in the customer field. The customer email shows. You'll notice that they don't have a field to enter the billing address, so it's blank. Hopefully they will add that soon. The terms, invoice date, due date also show in the header. The detail section of the invoice showed the service date, product, service, description, quantity, rate, amount, and if this item is taxable. To the bottom left, it shows my memo listed on the message on the statement. Lastly, it shows California as the tax collected for all taxable items. QuickBooks Online Advanced has an awesome feature called Batch Transactions. In this video, I am going to show you how to save time by using the Batch Transactions method. In an earlier video, I showed you how to import multiple invoices at once. I'm going to show you another way to enter invoices that I prefer over the Import Invoice feature because I feel that you have more control of the import along with that there are more fields available. In a nutshell, this valuable tool allows users with high data entry requirements to skip or at least minimize the repetitive manual entry of transactions. Let's show how batch transactions work. Go to New, select Batch Transactions, choose Transaction Type. Currently, you can batch create invoices, bank deposits, sales receipts, checks, expenses, and bills. New transaction types and data fields are in the pipeline, such as attachments, price rules, multi-currency, discounts, and bundles. You can batch enter several types of transactions. With invoices, you can create, modify, or delete transactions in batch. Click on the gear icon next to Options. Here, you can customize what you see along with adding, deleting, or moving columns the way that you want. The check marks that are grayed out are required fields. With invoices, you can import a CSV file. I'm going to show you how to import the same sample file that I used in the import invoice demonstration. Select Import CSV. As you can see, the Import Invoice box looks almost identical to the Import Invoice box in the previous video. Choose Browse to add the sample file. I'm going to use the same sample file as before. I've attached the sample file in the description section for you to use as a reference. Click Open. Checkmark Add New Customers to QuickBooks if applicable. Click Next. Map your fields like we did in Import Invoices. You choose the invoice date format on the spreadsheet. Choose Next once you've completed the mapping process. Now let's click Save. I get a message that says, "Nicely done, you created 4 invoices." You can click on the Invoices link to take you to the sales screen, or click OK to go back to the Batch Transaction screen. I like the Batch Transaction feature because you can see the effect of your import and make any changes needed before you import into QuickBooks. Next, I will show you how to create an invoice using the Batch Transaction feature, duplicating the invoice for multiple customers, then adjusting the individual invoices. Select Create in the action box to generate some invoices. Let's set the customer to Amy's Bird Sanctuary. The default settings from that customer record will populate. Set the product service to landscape gardening. Enter the quantity to 4 hours and the rate at $85 an hour. Scroll to the right to see the totals. To add additional lines or fields, select the product service field and then the plus icon. You can also select the menu button with the 3 vertical dots and then select the new line item. Select any field on the invoice you want to send to multiple customers. Then select the menu button, the 3 vertical dots. Select Duplicate Invoice for multiple customers. In the window, select the customers you want to send the invoice to. Select Next. Invoices for each customer appears as rows in the Multiple Invoices window. You can edit them individually if you need to. When you're finished, select Save or Save and Send. Duplicating an invoice copies everything, including line items. However, if you've already set up any customer-specific terms or tax preferences, QuickBooks applies them to the invoice for that customer. Batch transactions can also batch modify and batch delete invoices. Batch modify can be used to save a lot of time when it comes to adding additional fields, such as add a memo to a range of existing invoices. Under Invoice, select Modify. Choose your invoices you want to modify. Let's go to Option and add the memo field. I will add Test to each memo field. I know, real creative mind I have. If you need to reclassify or move multiple transactions at once, you can click on this button here. I will go through the steps to reclassify in another video. Once you're finished, choose Save or Save and Print. If everything went well, you will get confirmation that the invoices were edited. Click OK. This takes you back to the dashboard. Next, let me show you how to delete multiple invoices. We'll select New, select Batch Transactions, choose Transaction Type Invoices. Under Action, select Delete. You can filter by date and specific fields. I'm going to delete the invoices we recently imported. A pop-up with a warning message will appear asking if you're sure you want to delete. Choose Yes. A confirmation screen appears stating that the invoices have now been deleted. Click OK, and that will take us back to the dashboard. As I mentioned before, you can batch enter bank deposits, sales receipts, checks, expenses, and bills. One of my favorite personal features of batch transaction is that you can copy and paste from your Excel spreadsheet. There are some limitations that QuickBooks needs to fix to make this a seamless process. To give you an example, let's go back to our sample spreadsheet. Select New, select Batch Transactions, select Transaction Type Invoices. Under Action, select Create. We can customize the batch transaction spreadsheet to match our sample spreadsheet. We can add any columns, uncheck any columns, and move the columns to match your spreadsheet. Once you're finished, select Apply. Anything highlighted with red are fields that didn't import. The date fields didn't paste because anything with a date must be in a specific format. QuickBooks needs to add a way for you to choose your date format like they do with the import function. We need to choose the tax rate to be applied to each invoice. You will follow the same steps for bank deposits, sales receipts, checks, expenses, and bills. Batch transactions is a huge time saver that only Advanced offers from the QuickBooks Online offering. Now that you know the benefits and limitations, you can decide how batch transactions will work for your business. While QuickBooks Enterprise still has much more granular permissions compared to all QuickBooks Online tiers, QuickBooks Online Advanced offers the most flexible user permissions available for QuickBooks Online. Roles help protect our data by making it easier to customize what your teammates can see and do. QuickBooks Online Essentials and Online Plus each offer 4 different user types. The first 2 count towards your user limit. The first one is the standard user, when you want to give them full or limited access but without any admin privileges. The next one is the company admin. They will have access to everything, including changing passwords, sending money, and adding users. You want to be really careful who you give this access to. The next 2 don't count towards your user limit. That is, the first one of this group is the reports only. This gives access to all reports except payroll or contact information. And then the last one from this group is the time tracking only. These are for employees who need to add their timesheets. You can also give them access to send expense claims. This is usually enough for smaller businesses, but things get tricky when businesses grow quickly and need to deal with more complexity. Intuit added custom user roles to QuickBooks Online Advanced specifically for customers at this phase of growth. QuickBooks Online Advanced custom role feature enables administrators to assign permissions to accommodate a broad range of potential roles. In this file, I have 2 users and 8 roles that are available to assign. I haven't assigned my accountant role yet. To set up a new user with a custom role, you want to follow these steps. Select the gear icon. Select Manage Users to add custom roles. Select Add User. Select the user type. Again, you can choose to create a custom role, standard user, or company admin, which counts towards your user limit. Choose reports or time tracking only if you just want to allow teammates to have access to reports or time tracking only with the feature to give employees access to send expense claims. These do not count towards your user limit. I'm going to select Custom Role. There are 4 predefined roles set up by QuickBooks. They are Payroll Manager, Sales Manager, Inventory Manager, and Expense Manager. When you click on each role, you will see what the user assigned to each role has access to within your company file. To create a custom role from scratch, click Add New. The Add a New Role page will allow you to choose the following. Keep in mind, at this time, QuickBooks doesn't allow you to give partial rights, such as to choose either View or Create and/or Edit and Delete. I'm told it's coming soon if it hasn't yet. The first choice is Sales. This gives access to invoice, receive payment, create estimates, create memos, sales receipts, and everything else listed under the customer section. You can also choose access to specific locations. Here you can choose to give full access to invoices and/or estimates. The expenses. This gives access to create an expense, write checks, enter and pay bills, create purchase orders, and everything else listed under the vendor section. Here you can choose to give full access to bills and/or checks. Banking. This gives you access to all banking transactions, register, entries, rules, receipts, and tags. Choose banking for full access. Inventory. This gives you access to view and edit the product and services list, manage categories, adjust inventory, view existing inventory on hand, and update vendor details. Choose inventory for full access. Workers. This user can add employees and run payroll, view payroll reports, and paycheck list. Fill out timesheets, view, and edit payroll settings and pay contractors. Keep in mind this role will also get access to expenses and list. Choose payroll, workers, compensation, and benefits for full access. The reports. This gives you access to view common sales and customer reports like accounts payable, bill payment list, vendor balance, check detail, and other reports. This doesn't include access to advanced reports or company financial reports like balance sheet and profit and loss. Account management. This user can make changes to your company name, type, contact information, and address. Along with managing your company subscription in QuickBooks, choose company information and/or access subscription to issue full access. Check the box that pertains to this user role. I'm going to check bank deposits. I'm not giving full access rights to banking. Select Next. Let's enter our new role, Bank Deposit Rep. You can add a description if needed. And here's a really cool way to test your role. Select Preview Role to view what they will be able to do. Keep in mind any changes you make in this role will be changed permanently. Here you see they can access bank deposits and import batch transactions. If everything looks good, go back to add a new user page. Click Save. Enter their contact info to invite them to create a QuickBooks account and password for access. I will choose Test Company and then the email address. You will see the new user added, waiting for the invite to be accepted, along with the new bank rec agent role. Another feature only found in QuickBooks Online Advanced is the Managing Workflow automation. You use workflows to send reminders to the right people at the right time. With workflows, you can automate common tasks in QuickBooks, like sending payment reminders to customers. You can also send reminders to your team to complete specific tasks, like reviewing open invoices. You set the conditions to tell QuickBooks when to send the reminders and to whom. Whenever the conditions are met, QuickBooks will automatically send out a reminder. Some workflows automatically send reminders to customers so you don't have to. Others send reminders to your team to take a specific action on a task. You can have multiple workflows of the same type working at once. For example, you can have multiple payment received workflows for different sets of customers. Here's how to create a new workflow for your customers or team. To get started, select the Workflows menu or select the Settings and then Manage Workflows. Select the Templates tab. QuickBooks has many workflow templates ready for you to create. I want to set up a bank deposit reminder for Barrett. Select Create under the bank deposit reminder under Workflow Templates. You can give the workflow a name or use a default name. I will keep Bank Deposit Reminder for my workflow name. The Conditions section determines what activates your reminders. With this template, I only have one option, which is to choose the undeposited funds. Then choose your conditions of less than, greater than, equal to, less than, or equal to, or greater than. I will choose greater than or equal to a specific dollar amount, which I'm going to just keep at 0. Keep in mind, you can set multiple conditions for some workflows. To add more, select Add Condition. All conditions need to be met to start the workflow. In the Actions section, select the actions QuickBooks will take when the conditions are met. This determines what happens after the template activates. Choose who to assign the task to in the For section. This can be assigned to one person. You can send notification to multiple users. Select the Send Email checkbox to send the reminders as emails. On some workflows, you can also select the Send Mobile Notification checkbox to send a push notification to a user through the QuickBooks Online mobile app. Edit the message in the subject and message body sections as needed. The highlighted fields are variables. The variables populate the reminder message with your company or the customer information. To change the variable, enter the number sign, then select the variable you want to use. Our options are either company name or undeposited funds. Any erasing or overwriting the highlighted fields will affect all reminders. When you're done, select Save and Enable to turn on the bank deposit workflow. I will click on My Workflows so you can see our newly created workflow. Under Action, you can edit the task or see any additional notes added. As we've said before, if a workflow notifies one of your team members to take an action on a workflow, QuickBooks will create a task. All tasks appear in the Task menu, so your team can manage everything in one place. Let's go to the Task menu to review our active task. Click on the completed tasks to review any tasks that are finished. I live for a completed task section, and I'm highly disappointed that our team doesn't have any completed tasks yet. Maybe soon. You can also select the Filters button to filter your task by Created by Me, Assigned to, Due Date, Task Related to, and Task Type. Click Apply Filters once you're done. I'm going to go back to our active task to create the bank deposit. If you choose the arrow icon, it will show us the undeposited funds balance and allow you to choose the Create Deposit button, which will take you to the bank deposit to complete your task. Once completed, we can go back to our task and now see that it's completed, which makes me happy. All right, now let's go back to the workflows by creating a custom workflow. So let's select the Workflows menu or select Settings with the gear icon and then Manage Workflows. Select the Templates tab. In the Workflow Name field, enter a name for your template. In the arrow drop-down for Choose a Source, select the template type. Your options are Invoice, Bill, Bill Payment, Estimate, Purchase Order, or Statement. In the Do This in QuickBooks section, select the actions QuickBooks will take when the conditions are met. This determines what happens after the template is activated. Under How would you like this action to happen? Select the checkboxes to tell QuickBooks how to send the reminder. Then select the corresponding arrow drop-down for options on assigning the reminder. The options that display depend on the type of reminder you select. Keep in mind the highlighted fields in the template are variables. The variables populate the reminder message with your company or the customer information. To change the variable, enter the number sign, then select the variable you want to use, like customer name, company name, or amount. To create a reminder in Task, this creates a new task in the Task menu. You can choose who you want to assign the task to and the name of the task. You can also choose to close the task manually or have QuickBooks close the task for you when the action is taken, like when your invoice or bill is paid. If you want to send a customer email, this will send an email directly to your customer and any email address you add with the CC or BCC option. You can also customize the subject and email message of the template. If you want to send a company email, you can choose to send an email to someone within the company. Define the subject and body or use the defaults. The last one is to send a push notification. This sends a push notification to a user through the QuickBooks Online mobile app. In the When This Happens section, use the arrow drop-downs to select the conditions. Select Add Another Condition to create more conditions. When you're done, select Save and Enable to turn on your workflow. Custom fields give decision makers the tools to create the reports they need without using extra classes, locations, or extra rows on the chart of accounts. Custom fields provides 12 additional customer fields, 12 additional sales fields, 12 additional purchase order and expense form fields, and 12 additional vendor fields. QuickBooks Online Advanced users receive an additional 48 fields in all. That's a lot of additional reporting flexibility. Here are some examples of how you can use custom fields to track info about your vendors and expenses. First, click the gear icon. Choose Custom Fields under the List column. Click Add Custom Field. Once your dialog box pops up in the right-hand side of the screen, add the name of your custom field. QuickBooks will give you name suggestions that you may want to use. I will choose Customer Type as my custom field name. Next, you choose the data type with options of text and number, number only, date, or drop-down list. I will choose the drop-down list as a data type. I will add residential and commercial as drop-down list options. I can add up to 100 drop-down items per drop-down list. Next, select your category. I have chosen the customer category. What this does is it will add it to the custom field tab in your customer section. Then select forms where you want the custom field to show. I have chosen to show on sales receipts, invoices, and estimates. This will show in the header section of your forms. Click on the slider to have the custom field print on the form. Select Save once finished. Now I will show you where the customer custom field shows. Let's create a new invoice. Click New Invoice. The customer type will show in the header of your invoice screen. Next, let's look at the customer screen. Go to Sales, Customers, then choose New Customer. Choose the tab for Custom Fields. This is where you can choose your customer type. The next example I'm going to show is to set up Sales Rep in the Transaction category. Click the gear icon, choose Custom Fields under the List column, click Add Custom Field. Once your dialog box pops up in the right-hand side of the screen, add the name of your custom field. Again, QuickBooks gives name suggestions you may want to use. I will choose Sales Rep as my custom field name. Next, you choose a data type. I will choose the drop-down list as the data type. I will add Sean and Jared as the drop-down list options. Again, I can add up to 100 drop-down items per drop-down list. Next, select your category. I will choose the transaction category. What this does is adds it to the Custom Field tab in your forms. As a side note, I think that QuickBooks was trying to copy Enterprise's transaction feature, but Online Advanced doesn't allow the customer transaction field to show up in the detail section of the form. A huge miss from the developers, but hopefully they will get it fixed. Then select forms where you want the custom field to show. I have chosen to show on sales receipts, invoices, and estimates. This will show in the header section of your forms. Click on the slider to have the custom field print on the form. Select Save once finished. Now I will show you where your customer custom field shows. Let's create a new invoice. So we'll click New Invoice. Now I will show you where the Sales Rep field shows. Sales Rep field will show in the header of your invoice screen. The next example I'm going to show is to set up the Vendor ID Rep in the Vendor category. Click the gear icon, choose Custom Fields under the List column, click Add Field. Once your dialog box pops up in the right-hand side of the screen, add the name of your custom field. And one more time, QuickBooks gives name suggestions you may want to use. I will choose Vendor ID as my custom field name. Next, you choose the data type with options of text and number, number only, date, or drop-down list. I will choose the text and number as a data type. Next, select your category. I will choose the vendor category. What this does is add it to the custom field tab in your forms and in the vendor section. Then select forms where you want the custom field to show. I have chosen to show on purchase orders and bills. Click on the slider to have the custom field print on the form. Then select Save once finished. This will show in the header section of your forms and in the vendor section. The Custom Fields dashboard will first show the name and category of each custom field. The sales section check marks which forms the custom field will appear on, whether it's a sales receipt, invoice, estimate, credit memo, and refund receipt. The purchase section check marks which forms the custom field will appear on, whether it's a purchase order, expense, bill, check, vendor credit, and credit card credit. If you choose to print on your form, you will see a printer icon. Under the last section with actions, click the drop-down to edit or make the custom field inactive. As a side note, I think that QuickBooks Online Advanced is missing an opportunity to add products and services to their custom field list. QuickBooks Enterprise has custom fields that are created from their items section. QuickBooks Online Advanced doesn't allow the product service category, so it doesn't show up in the details section of the form. I hope they will add it soon. Performance Center is a new feature in QuickBooks Online Advanced that makes it easier for managers and decision makers to visualize company financial data. This enables more effective business performance monitoring and informs commercial strategies. Let's go to Reports and select the Performance Center. Enter residual remodelers for your industry in the Settings tab. QuickBooks Online Advanced uses real-time data pulled from at least 30 businesses that are the closest match to your industry and location for custom charts. So report visualization is 100% accurate. Existing reports are updated every 4 hours, and Intuit is working to make updates even more frequent. Keep in mind that in some cases there might not be industry data for your specific industry type or location. The graphs to compare industry data is net margin versus industry benchmarks and gross profit margin versus industry benchmarks. As you can see, my sample company data doesn't have any data entered from the last 12 months, so our profit margin doesn't show. You can see the industry benchmark in gray for residential remodelers from the last 12 months. QuickBooks has other built-in charts ready for you. You can customize them to meet your needs. To create a quick chart for a common metric like gross profit over time, let's select Quick Add Charts and pick gross profit over time from the list. The chart appears instantly on your dashboard. To change the time period, select the current time period, then select an option from the drop-down. To go deeper into the data, select the vertical ellipsis and then edit the chart. You can group the data by categories, apply filters, or compare the results to a previous time period. You can also choose how you want your graph to look. Now let's see how easy it is to create custom charts using the Custom Chart Builder in the Performance Center. You can customize a chart and filter it to your needs. You can add up to 25 custom charts to this view. You can make charts to track these metrics: expenses, revenue, gross profit, net profit, accounts receivable, accounts payable, the cost of goods sold, cash flow, current ratio, and the quick ratio. we're going to create a custom chart in QuickBooks Online Advanced that tracks revenue by consultant. In this example, the company uses classes because they track their revenue for each of their consultants using the class list. Select the Add New Chart button. Select Revenue, then Continue. Name the new chart Revenue by Consultant. For the time period, select this year to date. Select how you want to group your data. The choices are for Group By, Classes, Items, Income, Customers, or None. Select Classes. Select the consultants Tad Overstreet, Ted Lasso, and Led Tasso. You can filter by items, customers, income, or employees. This field is optional. You can also select Compare to add comparative data by the previous period or the previous year for the same period. Choose vertical bars or trend line. Let's add the new Revenue by Consultant chart to the dashboard. Select Add to Dashboard. You can change the default date range and make edits or delete the chart, known here as a widget. You can also edit the chart to show the same data in a different light. Let's change the view so that we can see the consultant's income for the entire date range. QuickBooks Online Advanced provides an additional service called Priority Circle. The 3 services that are available through Priority Circle are the dedicated account team, 24/7 premium support, QuickBooks Online on-demand training. So first, let's talk about the dedicated account team. They will track the success of your experiences. They will follow up and resolve any of those low-level "how do I" questions. When you call the dedicated account team, the representative will recognize your phone number and will be ready to answer your specific product-related questions. Next is a 24/7 premium support. The QuickBooks Online Advanced customers and their teams receive front-of-the-queue access to the best of our technical support teams, as determined by client rankings. These teams can resolve any technical issues with QuickBooks Online Advanced. The last one is the QuickBooks On-Demand Training. This suite of self-paced training videos educates you on the basics of QuickBooks Online Advanced and its workflows. Priority Circle comes with 5 videos to train you on QuickBooks Online Advanced. They are Mastering Accounting Basics for QuickBooks Online, Mastering QuickBooks Online Level 1, Mastering QuickBooks Online Level 2. This will dive deeper into payroll and reporting. The 4th one is Mastering QuickBooks Online Payroll. And then the last one is QuickBooks Online Advanced Features. This training has an annual value of $2,000. To access the free training available through Priority Circle, select My Experts to access Priority Circle. Select Access Self-Paced Training. Now, I'm using a sample company file, so I don't have access to log in. But what you would do is once you click on that button, you will then select Get Started to start your training videos. As you move to online and cloud-based applications to run your company finances, you find it ever more critical to protect the accuracy and integrity of your data. QuickBooks Online Advanced offers companies this assurance through its online backup and restore feature. Online backup and restore offers strong levels of data integrity for businesses that subscribe to QuickBooks Online Advanced. It also lets you perform local backups. No other versions of QuickBooks offer these features. Online Backup and Restore is accessible from the gear icon under Backup Company. You may need to log in with your Intuit account if asked. Online Backup and Restore captures transaction data, list data, and other elements such as attachments, company information, exchange rates, and preferences. However, it doesn't record things like custom reports, recurring transactions, and bank feeds. QuickBooks Online Advanced allows you to restore a backup to any point in time, but this isn't all it offers. By selecting specific historical backups from the Backups tab in the tool, you can review each backup to see the number of transactions and other variables that were created, updated, unchanged, or deleted. These details allow you to find the exact point where you last had clean data so you know what point to restore to. The Online Backup and Restore feature stores historical backups based on the schedule you set. When you restore a backup, you can restore everything except budgets. You need to export them as a CSV file. Inventory, it doesn't include the inventory history and inventory adjustments. Tax rates using expense accounts. The Online Backup and Restore app restores them in your liability accounts. When you turn on the Online Backup and Restore app, QuickBooks will automatically back up your data. Once it's complete, it'll track any changes made to your company data. Then you can restore a backup at any point in time. To run a full backup, under Action, your options are to run a full backup, restore, copy, schedule local backup, and disable backup. Let's run a full backup. You will see the status and results screen showing the transactions that were created, updated, deleted, or unchanged. Once the backup is complete, it will show when it finished and an action button to restore to this backup. Click Home once completed. Use the backup to restore your data from a specific date and time. It may take an hour to restore a backup, but it usually takes much less time. The fewer data the company has, the faster it takes. Important, don't do anything in your company while the Online Backup and Restore app restores your data. When it's ready, you'll see a check mark in the status. That's when it's safe to go back and use your company. You can save and schedule your backups to Dropbox or Google Drive when you link your account. Here's how to set up everything. Again, if you haven't went to your settings and went to back up your company, go ahead and do that now. Select the local backup menu. Select link a service. Select where you want to save your backup. I'm going to link to my Google account. Click Allow if you trust Intuit to access your Google account. And then you're all set. But then you need to set how frequently you want to back up. So you go back to your local backup menu, select New Local Backup Schedule, make sure you're in the correct company file, set the date and time on when to run the first scheduled backup, set the frequency of the backups, make sure everything is correct, then select Create Local Backup Schedule. Thank you for watching my video. To purchase QuickBooks Online Advanced, you can click the link in the description labeled New Subscribers, or click here to see the differences in all the QuickBooks Online plans. Currently, through our link, you will receive 30% off for the first 12 months. If you already have an account with Intuit for one of their other products, you can sign up using the same user credentials. Just make sure you select Add Another Company on the sign up page. Otherwise, complete the sign up form to create your account. If you currently use QuickBooks Pro, Premier, or Enterprise and decide to move over to QuickBooks Online Advanced, click the link in the description labeled Moving from Desktop, or click here and fill out the form to get special pricing for moving over to QuickBooks Online with free migration help. Once you sign into your QuickBooks Online account, I highly suggest you watch my Getting Started with QBO, which takes you through the complete setup process. Again, you can click the link in the description below or click here to get started on setup. Keep in mind that if the discounts change over time, each site will reflect the current promotion price and offering. Purchasing from my links gives you the best discount available through Intuit, and I receive a commission. This allows me to keep creating videos for you to help you get the most from your QuickBooks software. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to my channel along with notify so that you will receive more videos showing new features and how-tos in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching.